Journey to Lemora, Chapter 1, Invasion. I woke up knowing today was not going to be a good day. It was too sunny to fit my mood. I burnt my toast, missed the bus, had a math test I didn't study for, and worst of all, Dad's fiancée was moving in today. Her name was Lisa. Dad met her online through a dating site. They started getting serious and meeting even though the distance was long. Dad and Lisa couldn't be more different, but they made each other happy. She was from a big, busy city in California, while we were from a small mountain town in Colorado. After they announced their engagement, she decided to give up city life and move to the mountains with us. Lisa was nice enough, although she is nothing like Mom. Lisa was long-legged and curvy with bouncy blonde curls in her hair and bright green eyes. Dad always said I was the spitting image of Mom, with a slight frame, short in height, and a round face that made me look younger than I really am. I also inherited her silky black hair that always slipped out of my ponytail. Dad is a tall man with chestnut brown hair and a full, thick ginger beard. The only thing I seemed to get from him was his sapphire blue eyes, which peeked out under a fringe of blunt bangs. I definitely didn't have his goofy grin while we scarfed down our breakfast. "Okay, Catty, I'll be driving you to school today. I've got the day off to help the ladies move in anyway. I know it's going to take some getting used to, just promise me you'll try." Dad sighed as he cleared the dishes. "Yeah, okay, I'll try." We climbed into the car and I dusted some toast crumbs off my favorite vintage green bomber jacket. Dad started humming to "Love Me Do," which was playing on the radio. I hadn't seen him this happy in ages, and it was a good thing. Honestly, Lisa wasn't that bad either. She was cheerful and earnest, but not annoyingly so. Getting used to her living with us wouldn't be that hard. Her daughter Amber, on the other hand, was a different story. Amber had a personality as fiery as her red hair and changed with the flip of the switch. In front of my dad, she was always very sweet, and she would pout with her big green eyes to get her way. But the moment we left the room, her real personality would emerge. The last time I saw her, we were in an Italian restaurant with our parents. We were sitting outside on the terrace, little twinkling lights hanging over our heads, when a moth flew into Amber's hair. She screamed, knocking the fork with a large, juicy meatball out of my hand. The meatball bounced off the table and hit an old woman dining next to us square in the nose. I would have laughed if I saw it happen to someone else. Amber then apologized for me, claiming it was my fault. My face burned with embarrassment. And after Dad and Lisa took her side, I realized one thing. Amber couldn't be trusted. As we pulled up to the school, a sudden wave of dread hit me. "So, Dad? Amber will only be living with us part-time, right? Because her dad shares custody? She's going to that private school," I asked hopefully. "Well, because it was so far away and her father can't watch her as much as we can, Lisa and Dave agreed to transfer her here to your school. Catty, don't give me that look. It'll be fun. She's a freshman, just like you, and you can show her the ropes. She starts tomorrow," he replied. "Oh, that's it. My life is over," I grimaced. "You promised. Didn't you say you always wanted a sister?" Dad quipped with a stern look, cocking his bushy eyebrows. "I mean, yay, a sister. Bye, Dad." I rolled my eyes. I walked into Mountain Peak High School knowing it was going to be different tomorrow. My last moments of freedom before... "Catty, over here!" Amber waved to me, standing next to the entrance hall. She was still wearing her steam-pressed private school uniform and holding her expensive leather school bag. She had a gray overcoat, green pleated skirt, and dark green silk ribbon necktie and knee-high black socks. She had a silver bracelet she wore on her left wrist that was covered in little ornamental charms. "Amber, I heard you weren't starting until tomorrow." "I was, but Mom said I could start today since the movers and your dad are doing all the actual moving. I would just be in the way." She tossed her long red hair, sending the fruity hair product smell in the air. Kids in the hall were staring, and she seemed to be enjoying the spotlight. In a small school like Mountain Peak High, everyone knows everyone, and everyone was checking out the new girl. "Oh, well, welcome to..." I stammered as a couple of boys rammed into my shoulder. The tall, lanky one was Sean Miller, a basketball player, sophomore. The larger boy with the handsome face next to Sean was none other than Nick Sanchez, freshman. He was a broader build than most, but he had bright hazel eyes that glowed in the light, swarthy skin, thick dark hair, and a smile that made most girls swoon. I felt my heart jump to my throat, and my ears went red. "Catty, who's your friend?" Nick smiled politely, sweeping his hand through his curly locks. "Dang, girl, you lookin' snatched," Sean smirked, looking Amber over in an obvious way. "Hi, I'm Amber, her soon-to-be stepsister. Better get to class. Come on, Catty," Amber sighed in a disinterested sort of way. "You didn't have to be rude," I remarked as we made our way through the crowded hall. "Oh, yes, I did," she winked coyly. It felt like a joke that I didn't get because I wasn't the same kind of girl she was. I was shy, awkward, bookish, while she was so bold and charismatic and beautiful. Like those perfect Insta girls with thousands of followers. I kind of admired and hated that about her. I spent the rest of the day introducing Amber to people, most of whom weren't even friends, just onlookers and curious acquaintances. By lunchtime, Amber was already in with the most popular kids, and I shrank into the background. This didn't bother me until my fourth period in algebra. "Okay, class, pencils down. Please pass your quizzes to the front of the class," Mr. Jakes, our math teacher, dictated. Matthew, a heavily freckled boy, turned around to take the tests from me and said, "Hey, you're Amber's sister, right? She's tight. You know, you don't really look alike." Of course not. I've been sitting behind this clown all year and he calls me Amber's sister? It took all the restraint I had not to yell at him. I've been in the same town my whole life, but my identity was taken over by Amber on only her first day. Thankfully, she got a ride home from her new friends, so I took the bus home alone. It was a relief to have no one staring and whispering in my direction. I was completely exhausted by the end of school and was ready to just hide in my room until dinner when I saw another unwelcome change. "Don't touch that! Those are my mom's things!" I screamed, nearly tripping over the front step. Boxes were strewn across the hallway, and there were ripping sounds of packing tape. The movers had completely emptied my mom's office. We had kept it the same ever since she left. Her office had the books she published and all of her journals, trinkets, and family photos. Whenever I went into that room, I felt her with me. It was my sanctuary, and now it was gone. "Honey, please calm down," Dad said, feeling the tension rising in the room. "We aren't throwing anything away. We just need to move it to storage. This is going to be Amber's new bedroom. It's closer to your room and the guest bathroom. We want Lisa and Amber to feel welcome, so please don't..." "Don't you care how I feel? No, it's just how they feel," I fumed through streaming tears, my fists clenched tightly. I completely lost all composure, grabbing the nearest box of Mom's things and ran into my room and slammed the door. Dad looked apologetically to the movers, who just stood in awkward silence. It was too much. I wanted Dad to be happy. I wanted to be good for him, but I couldn't take it anymore. Just like these boxes, I was completely displaced. Hello, my name is Ella, and welcome to my channel. Here I'll be sharing with you my stories, artwork, animations. If you enjoy my content, please support me by clicking the like button, subscribing, sharing, or ringing the bell for notifications. Links to my website and social media are below. I will be releasing content in sequential order, so please check for new chapters each week.